When when the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the storms of life are raging, stand by me. When the world is tossing me just like a ship upon the sea, thou who rulest wind and water, Lord, stand by me in the midst of tribulation. Stand by me. In the midst of tribulation, stand by me. When the host of hell assails have a conversation. Hey, yo, let's chop it up, man. Hey, yo, let's have a conversation. Hey, yo, may I interject? It's about time for communal reconnect. Power of the we in some type of context. Working on the us so we can hit up what's next. It's that grown brother, grown sister type of flex. More like soul check, not just collecting checks. Fact, not feelings is what we got on deck. Take the high road, so this here is high tech. Getting to the real, everything that we hitting on. Pull up or sit down, tell me what you sipping on. Reclaiming kinghood, that is what we getting on. Real headlines is what we spitting on. So, hey now, yo, let's have a conversation. Maybe take a sec to talk on what we facing. Only way to change is to change the situation. How about we break bread now and have a conversation? Hey now, yo, let's have a conversation. Maybe take a sec to talk on what we facing. Only way to change is to change the situation. How about we break bread now and have a conversation? Let's have a conversation. Hey, yeah, let's have a conversation. Have a conversation. Have a conversation.
We are the Real Bravado Network, and this is Have the Conversation. How you doing, Flo?
I'm here.
Yeah, me too. All right, before we get started, for those of us that are going to be watching it later, please go on to YouTube, search Real Bravado Network on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That's the
Please
best
do.
way. That's the best way. One of the best ways you can do to support the platform is to go ahead and subscribe to the Real Bravado Network, so we can continue to have the conversations that we're going to be having on this show. So please do that. Also, if you're watching, you want to participate, you want to come up, we always put a link in the comment section where you can click on and you can actually join the panel through the show if you got any opinions, or you can just go ahead and write a comment or something like that in the comments. So those are the best ways to go ahead and interact with us and show your support. Okay.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
let's get down to business. Real quick, Flo. Let me introduce myself, and then you can introduce yourself. My name is Tavares J. Moore, and I'm no image consultant. I'm no relationship expert, not an expert in culture or history. But what I am is an average middle class black man who is sick and tired of being sick and tired. Flo?
I am Lady Flo. I'm just a co-host right next to TJ. I'm just a caring individual, and it's just sad to see that we still in these days have to go through this. But
Yep.
TJ, let's get
Yep.
it started.
All right. Now, remember, the way in which we get engage one another during the shows or during the process is important. We as black people as a group have become very comfortable with being informal with each other, which can lead to the lower the ability to maintain respect and decorum with one another. We are going to attempt to have very pressure tested conversations on this platform. And as the facilitator, I want to hold everyone to the standard of respect and decorum. So terms like Mr., Mrs., Ms., Miss, Ma'am, Sir, those are paramount with us over here. It's dignified, it shows respect, and it shows decorum primarily during pressure tested conversations. It's hard to disrespect for somebody when you always got to call them Mr. or Miss or Ma'am or something like that, okay? We are going to attempt to do all of these things over here because here on Have the Conversation, we are completely and utterly invested in her image, his image, and our image, okay? And it's taken me nearly my whole life to wrap my head around how valuable and significant like my personal image is and then my cultural image is, okay? What I'm going to do is in the first stream that we did several weeks ago, I went over a big thing about image and what it meant. But right now, I'm just going to talk about and just remind everybody about the definition of image. So, an image, the definition that we're going to be operating with here on Have the Conversation is image is the reputation that a person is known for, including their behaviors, character, and their appearance. Another way of putting it, it's how you are perceived, it's your reputation. That's what we mean by image over here, and the fact that we are invested in her image, his image, and our image. We're everything that we do over here will come from the perspective of our image and how we're being perceived. Now, also in the first stream, I referenced an article from a platform called The Atlantic, okay? And it talked a little bit about image. And it says, like, it said, people, um, people can take your image or your perception of your image, and they can take your perception as truth more than the actual truth, and which can lead to your image being manipulated, especially by someone who has a vested interest to frame your image, your likeness, your characters in a certain way.
Yeah.
So the question that I asked at the first show, and I'm going to ask it again today, is how is it here in Black America, our image is being framed, and who is vested in how we are viewed? Who has a vested interest in how we are viewed and the outcomes that it produces for Black men and Black women? Later on in the article, it talked about the ability to manipulate one's image, and that how much of an issue that is, and how trying to verify the correct reputation or perception or image is often problematic, and it can lead to like conflict, it can lead to misunderstanding, and it also can lead to something that I talked about in the first episode. I told people to pay attention to this, which is reactionary violence. So here's my question, or here's a question. What is it about our image and how we are perceived that leave us, blacks in America, as the most vulnerable group of people in this country? Once again, we were attacked. This time in Buffalo, New York, 10 Black souls were taken from us by an 18-year-old man. And as we all know, just like in the church in South Carolina, the brother was the man was able to walk away with his life intact. We all know what that would have been like if it was if that 18-year-old was us. They framed they're framing this 18-year-old man as a kid, and while if something happens to one of our younger males, they refer to him as a man. Trayvon Martin was 17 and kept calling him a man. Tamir Rice was 12 years old and they kept calling him a man. But this 18-year-old, the judge called him son at his initial hearing. When we talk about our cultural image in this country, when we think about our cultural image, how is it, or what gives somebody like him, what does he say to himself to give him permission to do what he do if there wasn't an issue with our cultural image? Flo, what do you think?
Personally, I think it have to be taught. That's a young man, you know. That's a why do in these days they so strongly feel the need to hurt us? What do they fear about us? Because it got to be something they fear. You know, for them to be so inhumane and wicked to me, for you to be that young and set out to do something as such, to me, that's something that he saw, that was taught as he was coming up. Because I just have it hard to believe that this young man just set out to do this without no no little help. you know you it's too often that this happen, and I would like to see the outcome. I want to see what's going to be the ending result behind what he did. you know I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt. I send my condolences to every last one of those that lost their loved ones so senselessly. It just I can't cry no more. Something has to be done, and hopefully that it will, because that's hate beyond recognition. You know, that's just wow.
Yep. Dr. Thomas, can you go ahead and unmute for me? So when it comes to our image, how do you think that played a part in that man doing what he did?
Well, personally, I feel that a lot of other races look at us as a whole, as a African American race, that we do not value the lives of each other. We are not our brothers and sisters keepers. There is so much black on black crime that's taking place until many of the other nationalities, they feel that we don't value the lives of our fellow brothers and sisters that look like us.
Wow. And you're so right. Wow, man. You're so
Um,
right.
a lot of times when you talk about stuff like this happening to us, a lot of yeah, of course they look and see how little we seem to not value one another. But if you look at any, and, I'm a data man. If you look at any crime data statistics, people commit crimes against people that they live near. So this notion that that there's black on black crime, there's white on white crime. When
Yes.
white folk commit crimes, it's normally against other white folks. The majority of crimes are committed against by white folks against other white folks. There's rare crime. The crime rate amongst cross races is is very low. But when you start looking at it from from a race standpoint, we commit crimes against the people that we are typically living next to. So, but I
And
do
TJ,
understand, but our
But they
perception,
just promote our crime to make it
yes,
look,
yes,
to make it look like we the only one that do this. No, all race commit crimes again, but we are just the one more broadcast to make it look
right.
as if, so they can continuously do the things that they do to us. But ooh, we gotta bring it to an
yeah, and
end.
remember what I said earlier in my little opening about who has a vested interest in
Hmm.
in manipulating our image and having it the way it is. Who benefits from that?
Somebody do.
Who
Somebody do.
benefits from that? Why? Well, it's easy. I believe it's easy to label or try to defend what he did and go, well, they doing it because we don't value ourselves. I agree with that, but that's not an excuse.
You feel me?
You're right.
Yeah,
The media manipulates a lot of the crime, as Flo said, as Miss Flo said. Um, the media takes us as a race, and we are more publicized and more visible in the media when we commit crimes against one another, when we commit the crimes that make us look like each other. And Miss Flo also made a good point in the beginning about things that are being taught. Hatred and things of that nature are being taught, and it's being bred in a lot of races, and that is one of the other driving points or driving forces that pushes these heinous acts.
Yes, ma'am. It has to be. Where else would it be steady? Uh, Why is racism still exist? It has to be taught. It's just logically, I can't come up with nothing else. You mean you take a child, he's 18 years old, but he has these intentions. He sat and he plotted this. He been plotting this. This ain't no he got a mental problem. Mental, he plotted what he wanted to do. He been knew. So that means he came up in a household that felt the need to think about us the way they think about us, and allow this young man to grow up with this hate, because I just can't understand it. Look at the people that he killed. Elderlies, everybody was up there in age. These are our uh our wisdom that he just took away from us.
yeah.
Why they all always aim towards our wisdom? Is it to keep us in a rut? Is it to keep us dumbfounded because they know we learn from the wise?
Yep.
That is wicked.
Miss Diamond, can you go ahead and unmute for me? All right.
Yes.
So what do you think?
I'm still in shock.
Ooh-wee.
I'm still in shock that this even happened. And it's happening over and over again. It's just that we're hearing about the stories from state to state. This is a learned behavior, I believe, with this young man.
Yes.
I believe that someone is telling him that if you don't stop, the African American person, they're going to take from us. They're getting our jobs, they're getting our cars, they're getting our homes, they're moving into our communities. And this is what I believe he's learned, because that was one of the things I believe they said he had written
Yes.
on some kind of document that they have now, stating that he was so fearful of us taking from him, and he's acting like it's really personal, like it's from him, but they're not educating this young man on what he needs to do to be able to get his own, like so
Right.
many of us.
Wow.
I believe, I'm not going to say they as just a Caucasian, because it's happening, and like we had said, Miss Flo had said, and like the doctor had said, we are taking from our own. You see us on the streets that I have to have that. I'll take this little boy or this young man's sneakers because I want those,
Mhm.
and things like that. But it is getting to be out of control. We all as a community have to come together to be able to teach each other what to do and how to be able to move forward with the I don't even want to say the ignorance. I would more so say what is not learned and what is not taught. We can go back and we can say what Willie Lynch had put into place, how to
Mm.
treat the black person,
Mhm.
and at some point in time that's still happening now. We're
Yes.
still
Yes.
seeing that. But when it's not just happening where I'm doing it to my brother or my sister, it's just happening everywhere. It is
Everywhere.
so
Absolutely.
sad that someone had gotten into the ear of this young man, because that's
Yes.
who he is. The
Yes.
judge may have called him a son because he wants to put it in the eyes of the jurors that he's
Yes.
young, he's
Yes.
impressionable. That's why he kept saying son,
Yes.
because that's the way they wanted the image of this young man to be called. I call him a young man because he is 18. He is of legal age,
Right.
and he knew. I don't want to say completely mental health because I don't know too much about him, but what is being told to me about
Yes.
him, but there's something wrong.
Yes.
There's
I,
a lot wrong
Hold
here.
on a second, Flo. Miss Angela, I see you over there shaking your head. How do you think this impacts our image and what he did?
Well, I was shaking my head because I know Black Diamond was after Black Diamond was going to get into mental health, and that's what, when it's outside of our race, it's always mental health. But when
mhm.
it's us, it is 14, 15. They don't care how old they is. They treat them
Yes.
as an adult. They
Yes.
they they that mentality of us cannot, we can take everything, we strong, we can do this. They've proven over and over. I'm doing research right now. You got to understand that we not too far away from where we just got our rights. We
No,
just got rights. We
our parents' and
not
parents'
that far
lifetime.
from that.
Right.
I'm doing a paper right now where I'm doing the U.S. Civil Rights Movement from 1942 to 1968, and how this man went undercover to investigate the 41 lynches and the 6 riots that was taking place at that time. And if you go back and you look at the things that was taking place, you go back and look at even out in Oklahoma, 1921, and how they destroyed the Black Wall Street. You,
Wow.
you 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 got to look at all that, because all of this is taking place. They getting fearful because their
Yes.
time is up, and they know that. They
What,
said
what do
they
you mean?
tried to put
What do
stuff
you
in
mean?
books to think
What
that they was
What
gonna
do you
keep
mean?
us.
What do you mean by their time is up?
See, they have kept us in bondage. They enslaved us. They've done all that. They can no longer control us because we know who we are. We know the power that's on the inside of us. We know that what we're capable of. We no longer have to be. We don't need them to guide us. We don't need to be under they master, they leadership. We don't need none of that because we have capable minds. We know who we are. See, they
real quick.
They enslaved us. All of this is playing back to slavery and how these people, even coming out of slavery, they didn't want to give us up. That's how it is. They did not want to lose control, because if you go back and you look at the history, how they tried to linger on, and how even presidents were saying they was against slavery, but they still had slaves.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Also, too, Miss Angela, understand something else as well.
A lot of this is repeat, and if we don't get it,
this topic gets you hot.
Yep. Understand what also plays a part, and I alluded this, and we'll talk about it as we get into our actual topic for today. But we are not together as a group. That's why I called us vulnerable. We're the most vulnerable group. 73% of our women are single mothers. No man in the home. Nobody there for protection. Nobody for provision. Nobody for teaching. Nobody for defending.
Recipe for infiltration, boy.
You think about it, they said it. They infiltrated with the drugs. They did all this when Apostle, when Overseer Tamla come on here. She gonna give you an exact example. Everything that these people set out to try to destroy us is now backfiring. It's now backfiring on them, because if you look at the drug epidemic now, what opioids are taking. Pastor Tamla can tell you about it.
It's so much
taking over. Opioids are taking over, and who strung out on opioids? Most of them, they not us. They not us.
No.
Everything that they done to try to destroy us is coming back on them. And see, when they try to take the men out of the home, it just made us stronger. And it just made us women that said, okay, we need our men. We need our men in our life, because not all of us say, okay, well, we can do this by ourselves. We can be superpower. No, all of us don't think like that. Because I am my brother's keeper, and I need my kings. I need my kings to take their throne, and I need them to be the men that they're supposed to be at the head of the household like they're supposed to. I need them to line up with the word.
All right, Ms. Thomas, hold on a second. All right, Christy, I don't think we can hear you with your headphones on. Nope, can't hear you. Nope, you got to take it off. All right, there we go.
Okay, so what I wanted to say with regards to your question, why are we viewed the way that we are? We've been vilified since slavery. We've been vilified. Our men have been made to be the monsters, the big bad guys. But now what they are realizing is that they are, when they start making laws in Mississippi and other places in the beginning, a couple of years ago, last year, making it illegal to have abortions. That was putting themselves on the endangered species list, because they cannot continue to exist at the rate. They can't procreate the same rate that Black and brown people do. And they are fearful of us. They're fearful of our strength, our fortitude. They gave us the scraps and we made something wonderful out of it. We are survivors and they are dying out. So now, instead of understanding that we don't want their stuff,
nothing.
We don't want their stuff. We want to be able to just take your hands off of us and let us get our own.
Yes.
Okay.
We need to teach our young people better, because there's no way my mother would have allowed me to come out of the house in a bonnet and slippers and pajamas.
We
have to do better by our own.
Christy, we're going to say that one, the bonnet story, for next week.
I didn't hear you.
I said we're going to save the bonnets for next week.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on a second.
I mean,
all right,
there used to be a time when our men dressed in suits, wore a hat, women wore dresses, and we took pride in our
Image.
exactly, in our image, in our image. The sister, what was it, Dr. Angela?
Yeah.
She talked about um, um, new Black Wall Street. There was Black Wall Street. There was East St. Louis. There was New Seneca Village, New York. There were so many down in Florida, Rosewood. So many towns, cities, and villages that were Black operated, that they killed our people because we were pulling together. Nobody, people don't talk about New Seneca, New York.
I'll be right back with
Hundreds of people were murdered.
Yes. And
people don't talk about East St. Louis.
And we're not going to talk about the fact that they actually dropped bombs on our. Anyways, we'll come back to that. Mr. Morris.
Yes.
How you doing there, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing wonderful. They don't want us to have it. We don't want us to have it. So how do we get it? You can't say that he had mental issues because everything that he did was premeditated.
Exactly.
The government surveyed every step that he went through, and they never one stepped in. But as soon as he did the shooting, they locked Young Thug and Gunna up on RICO charges in Atlanta, Georgia, for promoting gang violence and supposedly have somebody killed. So they took away from what he did and put the focus back on us. So how can our image change when the media is always putting the focus on us? Never mind that Young Thug created his company by himself, but the issue took away from the Buffalo shooting and went to these two Black guys in Atlanta on RICO charges.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear about the Atlanta one, so you got to send me that. I didn't hear about that at all.
Yes.
But Miss Lucas,
on RICO charges in Atlanta jail right now with no bond. Talk about they are promoting gang violence.
Oh wow. Miss Lucas.
Yes.
Same question to you.
The goal is to tear down the Black man. How do you tear down the Black man? You get the little boy. You destroy the little boy. You destroy his dreams. You tell him he is nothing. You put him on an IEP. And if you get him when he's young, then when he grows up, he won't know, hallelujah, the strengths and the talents and the skills that he has.
Wow.
And see, the other cultures, they are trained as children. You could be anything in the world. But if you don't have somebody in your life to tell you you can be somebody, then you're going to think that you are nobody.
Wow.
And that's the goal. And as an educator, I've been around where I was like the only Black teacher in the whole building. And people will sit up there and talk like you're not in the room and say, well, why should we teach these Black children? They're going to grow up and be on welfare anyway. They say stuff like this in these meetings. And so I always tell parents, get involved. I said, I can't tell you everything because, you know, when you're at the job, you know, you don't want them to find out that you're the snitch, you know. But I try to warn parents, get involved in these schools. Find out if your teacher actually like your child, because if they trying to set your child up, they will set your child up. And when it comes to statistics about suspending children, they suspend a Black child faster than any other child.
Oh yeah.
Some dumb little stuff. Oh, he kissed somebody. Okay, it was just a kiss. It didn't mean anything. But we are just trained different. And then when it comes to the pipeline, they can put a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old in jail for the rest of their life and call them an adult. You know that 9-year-old and 10-year-old is not an adult. But when it comes to the other races, he was just a baby. He didn't mean to. He didn't mean what he said. But when it comes to our culture, they meant it. They meant it. How can a 9 and 10-year-old meant what it was? They don't know what they just like the other 9, 10-year-olds. They don't know what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Unfortunately, I wish we could talk about this a long time, but we do got a topic to get to. So, but I just didn't want to, you know, let this stream go by with a whole bunch of black folk on it, not mentioning about what happened in Buffalo, New York, and the fact that that this continues to happen. And in my opinion, will continue to happen in part because we are not together as well. We don't demand the respect that we should get. We don't demand the treatment. We don't demand the treatment we don't demand it on the job. We don't demand it in our homes. We don't demand it in our church. We don't demand it in our media. 73% of our women are by themselves with some babies. And just because I gave out a statistics last week about only 27% of black women are married, only 33% of black men are married. That's nothing to celebrate. That 33% of our black men are married. That's nothing to celebrate. Nothing. And ain't nobody coming over here in mass. This whole illusion that, oh, the white girl is taking all of our best men, that's not true. Only 33% of our men are married. What are you talking about? 27%. We're virtually equal. As far as no one else, I don't care what the messaging or what we tell ourselves, don't nobody want us but us. So we got to move on, but I want to make sure that I, you know, give the proper respects to those that we lost really quickly, okay? Again.
Hallelujah. Salvation and glory, honor and power unto the Lord our God.
Aaron Salter.
For the Lord our God is mighty. Yes, the Lord our God, He's omnipotent. The Lord
Pearl Young.
our God, He is wonderful.
Ruth Whitfield.
Salvation and glory belong to Him.
Andre McNeil. Hayward Patterson.
For the Lord our God.
Roberta Drury.
Yes, the Lord our God. Say the Lord our
Geraldine
God.
Talley.
Hallelujah. He's wonderful.
Catherine Macy.
To the King of Kings. Hallelujah to Jesus.
Calistine Cheney. Marcus Morrison. And then those that were injured: Zaire Goodman, Jennifer Warrington, Christopher Brady.
He is wonderful. Salvation and glory, honor and power to Jesus. Say it's wonderful. Everybody, lift your voice, sing to God. Hallelujah. Salvation and glory, honor and power to Jesus. He's wonderful.
Okay, everybody. The Real Bravado headlines is where we introduce the issues we want to talk about. We also introduce the issues from a fact-based perspective. So let's get at it, okay? For the rest of the year, the goal of the platform really is here on Have the Conversation is to break down what we're going to be doing into into three-part series: her image, his image, and our image. And right now, we're talking specifically about her image. Now, just because we're going to have very difficult conversations about her image and the things that are associated with that, that does not mean that we're letting our men off the hook. You just gotta wait till we get to the men stuff. And I'm telling you, that's the stuff that's gonna catch fire right there, because the men stuff, I gotta, yeah. Anyways, and then we're gonna also hopefully end the year with dealing with our perspective. And everything what we're gonna be doing has to do with not just having these conversations, but actually doing something about them. Now, I firmly understand that we won't be able to probably change the masses, but there's something that has to be done about us, because in our very first streaming show, we all concluded we got a problem and we got to do something about it. And I'm of Generation X, and we're the generation that's now getting older, and our generation accelerated this 73% or 80% kid born out of wedlock. We're the one that accelerated this stuff. We're the ones that got to talk to our daughters, our sons, about what we did wrong and what we got wrong about this, okay? So all topics on Have the Conversation will resolve around her image until we get to his image. And remember, over here is strict accountability. So some days it's not gonna feel like it. Some days it might feel like I'm picking, but it's all about strict accountability. Okay. So I'm a firm believer. So back to last week, or not last week, the week before our last stream, we had a whole conversation about being a stepdad. Is it a good deal or a bad deal? Here's what I started out saying. I'm going to reiterate some of the things that I said on the last stream. One, I'm a firm believer that no little girl or young woman dreams about growing up being a single mother. I'm not sure that's how she plans her life to be, but for too many of our Black women, that's more of a reality than most. And according to a survey done by back in 2018, the Motherly State of Motherhood, they did a survey which outlined, which we already know, Black mothers are 4 times more likely to be single and serve as the primary breadwinner of their homes. And and I just said this a little while ago, according to blackdemographics.com, only 27% of our women are married, which leaves 73% of our Black women between the ages of 18 and 65 single, and most with children. And according to the last census in 2020, it's being estimated that about 80% of our Black children are being born to single mothers. So if you are an unmarried mom looking to get married, I don't know if this is a question or if it's a statement, maybe both. What are you looking for? And should you, if that answer isn't a stepdad, then what is it? So during the time that we didn't stream, we received multiple emails from people who watched the live stream, our last stream, and we were so we're gonna have a follow-up conversation regarding being a stepdad, if it's a good deal or a bad deal. Okay. One lady was so angry at me. She sent me a video. I shared this with my co-host, Lady Flo, a while ago, but she sent me a video to prove her point that I was being unfair. So if you give me a quick second, I'm gonna go ahead and try to play this video for you. Hold on.
This is the ignorant mentality that I speak about. This type of man is a low value man. He has no purpose. nor does he know who God created him to be. To make a comment to say, how does it benefit you to raise somebody else's kid? How does it benefit for you to cash someone else's kid? Shows that you have no emotional intelligence. You have no intellect. Okay? Because, see, the reality of it is, we're all God's creatures. If you are in love with someone, you embrace their children as if they're yours, okay? And the reason you would do that, if you have an understanding of what you believe and how you believe it, God takes us and he makes us his own, right? So when he actually died on the cross, the gospel was given to the Jews, and yet the Jews did not care about the Gentiles, and he grafted us in, the Gentiles, which it didn't belong to us, but he grafted us in. We're now considered his. We're not considered stepchildren. So when you carry a mentality as ignorant as cashing out somebody else's kid, it shows that you lack any integrity, any morality. It shows that you're self-centered and possibly narcissistic.
All right. So I responded to the lady, and asked her to come on. She decided by not responding to me that she wasn't going to come on. But so I have to interpret what she means by this video. So I'm going to interpret that she meant that I'm a low value guy because I brought up the subject of that, that brought up the subject of being a stepdad. Is it a good deal or a bad deal? Now, we pulled, or when we had this conversation last week with the ladies on the panel, the general consensus from the ladies on the panel was that being a stepdad is a good thing. And so my follow-up question for tonight is, who did you hear that from? Mr. Morris, you got any thoughts on that?
Yes.
Before I bring the ladies on? Huh?
Because I actually deal with the whole step daddy thing. My daughter and her mother. It's one of the cases where it's like it's either or. Like I guess he feels since he's in the house 24/7. He's the man of the house, and that all my lights, the father goes out the window. And I feel also that being a stepdad, that's a hard pill to swallow, because you have this woman, she's halfway independent, and then you come in, and you might see something that's not right, and she would tell you, well, you don't correct my kids, I correct my own kids. So where do you come together, and how to discipline and to teach somebody else's kids, when sometimes the mother might not even want you to teach the kids, or the daddy, the real daddy, don't want you to have nothing to say. You got a lot of forces that's working against you, because I think when my father, he remarried, he had 3 stepdaughters, and it was hard for him to actually just be that stepfather, because if they get mad at him, they go tell the daddy. So how being a stepfather does that benefit us? If we don't want to be a stepfather, we don't want to look for a woman that has kids, how does that benefit us? Okay, yes, Jesus died on the cross to save us from this, but what does that have to do with being a stepchild and being a stepdad? That has nothing to do with real life issues right here, because I don't want to have to get up in the morning, have to argue with the wife about what I said to her kid about something they did that she feels might be right, and I feel that's wrong. So how do you come together and do that? In this world that we live in, women are independent now, as I said. So why should we want to be stepfathers? Okay,
Well,
we love the woman, like the woman said, well, if you love me, you'll take care of my kids too. But who said we wanted that package deal?
so Mr. Morris, the question is, and you were on last week, but I never got a chance to bring you up. The question is it a good deal or a bad deal?
To me, it's a bad deal.
It's a bad deal. Okay, now our ladies, and you know what? I'm not going to speak for them. I'm going to bring some of them up, okay? Because last week they said that in consensus that it was a good deal, okay? And they gave some very interesting reasons why they thought it was a good deal. Mr. Lucas, if you go ahead and unmute for me.
It's a good deal. My second husband is a stepdad, if you want to call him a stepdad, but we don't call him stepdad. My children love him to death. I mean, everybody loves my husband. He's a real nice guy. So you can't look at him and say, oh, that's a bad deal. No, we looking at a person who's going to be there for that person and talk to them and just and love on them and stop looking at somebody as, oh, you shouldn't be here because you're a stepdad. I think as if somebody wants to be there, let them be there and don't label them, don't make them feel bad. And my husband gets along with my children. I get along with his children. So his children call me mom. They don't call me stepmom. I tell people I have bonus children. They know I birthed three. So we can't keep on putting labels on people and make them feel like they ain't nothing because our role is it's just like a teacher. When you go in that classroom, guess what? Those students are your children. They become your babies. You got to watch them. You got to make sure they're okay. So when we start putting labels on people and say they can't do this and they can't do that because they're not the biological parent, we shouldn't say that because they're there for a reason. God placed people there for a reason to help somebody out. And like when we was growing up, it said it takes a whole village to raise a child. It takes all of us. What if the dad is in prison? What if the dad is gone somewhere or he died? So we're gonna tell the women, oh, don't get another person in your child's life. We shouldn't do that because those children need to see a role model, a positive role model. So if somebody's gonna step in as a stepdad, let them. And it's okay. I don't see nothing bad about it. I think I like it. I love my husband. My children
I
love
know
me.
you do. Miss Miss Lucas, let me ask you a question. Were your children underage when you married your husband?
They was teenagers.
Define teenagers.
13, 17, and the other one was 15. So it was 13, 15, and 17.
Okay. So when you brought when he became and when he got incorporated into the house, the husband, how did you do that with the children?
I, we courted first, and so I introduced him to them. So we went on, different parks and plays and stuff like that. They had to learn each other first. I didn't just, okay, y'all, he my husband. What? You don't spring that on a child. You got to build a relationship. So you got to find out, does he really like my children? Because I'm not going to bring anybody around my children. My children, now I'm gonna fight everybody. I'm a helicopter parent. I'm gonna fight everybody when it comes to my children. So I'm not gonna allow just anybody to come near my children. So I had to make sure they can build a positive relationship with each other. And I
So
asked my children, do you like him?
How did it turn out to be a good deal for your husband?
Oh, he loves it because he likes to feel wanted. And he's one of those people, he cooks and cleans and he does all that. So he always asks us, what do we want? If we sat up here and said we didn't want anything to eat, he will have a fit because he's a caretaker. He likes to take care of others. So he loves that. That's the kind of person he is. If I say I don't want anything to eat, he will have a fit because he's like, what's wrong with you?
All right.
So,
Miss Diamond, if you can unmute for me because I'm going to come to you.
Oh my gosh. I have a blended family. I'm a parent of 12. I've been parenting 12
Diamond,
children.
you ain't no parent of no 12. Stop that.
I swear, I have
13.
parented 12 children. Ask the queen, she'll tell you. My youngest is 10, my oldest
13.
is 46. Well, yes, 13 is my other baby right there. And mine came in threes. And I'll be honest, all of them are not by birth, but I feel as though that they are. My first three were my nieces and nephews, and I didn't have children. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want children at the time. I was trying to do me and trying to finish high school and go on to college, but that didn't happen. But I did get involved with a gentleman, and he wanted to marry me and to move me to another state. And I told him that I could not. And he said, why? And I told him that I was raising my nieces and nephews. And surprising to me, he said they can come too. And I'm just standing there in shock, but I said no. I couldn't do it because they were my children. And I didn't want to just uproot them because they had their own parents.
Yeah.
But we wound up having our own set of children, and then there was children that came behind, and one of them in particular he had raised, and you would think to this day that that was his daughter. My husband has passed on since, and it's been 16 years, and I hadn't had that type of relationship because I don't want, and some people may say it's wrong, but I know it's a case by case basis, and I know how my children are, and I know what their needs are. I didn't want to be in a relationship with someone. For one, the trust had to be there. For two, I didn't want a relationship with someone for the sake of the children. If I wanted a partner, that partner would be for me, not for the children, because they had their biological fathers, whether they were in their life or not, they were already going through different things. And it was never really the right time. And I could not put a time on when it's the right time to introduce somebody into their life or not to. But I think with the brothers that I have, I'm not saying that they're all well balanced, because Lord knows that we have concerns and issues and things like that. But I've been raised with five brothers, and I've been raised with a lot of male cousins and different types of people, and it becomes something that I've seen and I've grown up with. And sometimes we joked about it that some men don't divorce their wives; they just live with other people and they have other families. I do have somebody I know. I call him the forefather because he has five different families
Oh
by
Lord.
five different women, but he takes care of all of his children. I don't want to get in as far as how the women are feeling. That's not my place, nor is it my business. But at the same time, he does take care of his children. The dynamic of how they move forward, that's the dynamic that they lived in. I can't say whether it's a good thing or it's a bad thing as far as a stepfather. I feel as though it's a case by case basis, and the person that's in that relationship, they would know what is best for their family. Somebody may have said to me, "Oh, you need a man to help you raise those children." I didn't need a man to help me raise my children. Was he there for them, or was he going to be there for me? I know what I needed. And for me, I didn't want to, and I know some people may dig into me when I said, I didn't want to be involved with a man where I didn't know whether he wanted to play with trains or build trains. I didn't have time to train anybody. So I kept my life moving in the way that I wanted to move.
Miss Diamond, you said you had no time.
That's just me.
On that note, Miss
Everybody is
Diamond.
different.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
On that,
just who I am.
I'm gonna
That's the
come
way
back
I
to
am.
Miss Diamond. I'm gonna come back to that one. All right, Miss Angela. So last week, the last stream, you said it was a good deal, and you said, I think you said, because he gets to build a legacy. What do you mean he gets to build what legacy?
I actually was on the last time.
You weren't on.
For no, I wasn't on. I was traveling that Friday. I
Oh,
missed that
who was
show.
it? Who was it that said that he gets to build a legacy? Then, Miss Young, was that you that said that? Somebody said he gets to build the legacy. For some reason, I thought that was you, Miss Angela. What do you think? Good deal or bad deal being a stepdad?
I think it's a good deal.
Oh.
Because, for example, me, I don't have kids, so um, people always gravitate to me as a mom. Um, and I have several moms that I've gravitated to. Um, I think being able to be a role model or that figure for somebody is a privilege. It is a gift, and it's an honor. Whether you birth them or they're a bonus, it is a privilege, and it should be it should be honored.
Okay. Dr.
You should
Thomas, can
be
you unmute?
privileged to be in to have kids in your life, because you have an opportunity to mold somebody. You have an opportunity to pour into somebody. You have an opportunity to be a disciple. But each his own. I think it's a good deal to be able to be a step parent. I was a step parent. I had two step kids, and I love them. Even to this day, I get phone calls from them. So I think it is an amazing opportunity.
Okay. Okay. Miss Dr. Thomas, I actually got a question for you. Okay. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I didn't hear your question.
I said I have a question for you. Oh, I'm getting
Yes.
some hold on a second. I'm getting some bad feedback. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Hold on. No. Dr. Thomas, do you hear that feedback?
I can hear something. I'm not sure. I've been having some issues hearing you guys pretty much throughout the show. I get little bits and pieces going in and out.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna try to ask this. Hold on a second. Something's not. I got everybody off the stream. Hold on, Dr. Thomas. Hold on. All right. All right. All right, Christy, I want to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, my official stance on that is about being a stepdad. We have 73% of our women that are, single moms, and 54% of our Black men are single and childless. And if we're gonna try to reunify families, you're gonna have to have stepfathers. There's no way around that. There are not enough of our women who don't have children. There's just not enough of them.
Correct.
At a 73% rate. So you got to have a stepfather. So, but my question is, and am I wrong for asking this question? I know what I have to do as a man to come in as a stepfather, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have to absorb mom, protection, provision, caring, leadership, dying for, and I also have to now do that for another fella's child.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what I bring into the world. I'm supposed to bring a degree of stability into that situation to make a codified family. Am I wrong for asking? So what do I get?
No, you're not wrong. In sales, what I learned years and years ago, WIFM, WIIFM, WIFM, what's in it for me? We all want to know what's in it for me. And if a man comes into the home, he requires love, or he should require love, respect, honesty, for those kids in that home to respect him as the man of the house and do what he say. That's the man. That's the strong man. And the Bible says you can't bind the house unless you bind the strong man. A lot of women don't want to make their kids mind.
Say that again.
A lot of women don't.
I didn't hear you. Just a little louder.
A lot of women do not want to make their children mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of families that are broken. So basically, we got to get back to the simple, bare basics, the bare minimum, where we have a mama, we have a daddy, we got kids, and everyone has a role, and everyone knows their role, and they take care of their role. Just like who was it? Miss Diamond said she knows someone who had 4 or 5 families, and he took care of all of those families. I'm not saying that is what we need to get to, but our men have to come to the table with more than just their forks. I've seen it too many times where the woman is working hard and the man driving around all day in her car.
Yeah.
Is that
just recently?
When that happens, who's responsible for allowing that to happen?
That woman.
Okay.
That woman. Look, we have to get better and set the bar up here. You can't get this unless you come in with something. Just like the young woman I saw just recently, a young woman left her 2-year-old baby with her boyfriend of 1 year. And she was going to out of town to her mother. Her mother was having surgery. She left that baby with that man and he murdered her baby. There is a very, very, very terrible sickness in this earth. And it starts with us.
Let me ask, Miss Diamond, I got a question for you, but I got a quick intermediary question for Miss Flo and for Christy. Oh God, I just lost it. Oh, how long when you are engaging with a man, how long do you think it should take him before he knows if wants to marry you or not?
How long do I think that the
No,
man should
that's
know
for
whether he wants to marry me?
no, that question is for Miss Young and Miss Flo. I got a different one for you.
For me,
Go ahead,
for
Flo.
me, for me, marriage is a man-made, control mechanism. I feel like why control them individually when we could pair them up? That's just me. I feel like marriage to me, for me, doesn't make a difference for me. If I love and care about you, a piece of paper ain't gonna make no difference to me. I will never force an individual to do something. He gotta want to do that. I'm never gonna force a man to marry me. No. I like to be free.
I don't
As
know.
a woman.
I don't know if it's about forcing the guy to marry you, but all of the research, all the child psychologists, everything, all the research that has been done, especially the amount of research that's been done on us, they always said the most to get the best outcomes for your children is to have a 2-parent household. Now, historically, before the states got involved, marriages were just a religious or ceremonial thing. There was no formal thing of the state coming in and saying, but
Right.
people don't understand. You got to do something. There's going to be a show where I do history. One of the histories I'm going to be talking about is the history of marriages. And the fact of the matter is that marriage licenses were instituted so we couldn't get married. And not only that we couldn't get married, but more importantly, we couldn't marry white folks.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that too. So prior to all of that, marriage was up to the church or the community, whatever the community stated that you belong. You belong to that man, and and you were under his protection and all that good stuff. So I understand what you're saying, but we're also living in 2021.
Back in the day, the old school, once you start interacting with a guy, get pregnant, ASAP they want you to get married.
Absolutely.
That was something that was forced back then. The elderly nowadays, it's like marriage is for the birds to me.
I don't know.
No one is faithful. That's number one. People get married for the wrong reasons in a lot of situations. Not everybody marry you because they love you. If you got money, a woman will pretend that she care about you and marry you just because. So it just depends, to each his own. For me, I can love you without that paper. I'm gonna die and leave it right there. So that paper really doesn't make a difference to me. It costs to get married and even more to get rid of. I don't get caught up in it.
Same question to you.
Please repeat the question because it got a little convoluted for me.
Yeah. Well, oh Lord, I lost my train of thought. My question is, well, we kind of got off on the giving the car away, that was his. No, the question was, how long does it take before he knows if he should marry you or not?
For a man, probably about 6 months.
6, and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to deliver some information whether you guys accept it or not. Generally speaking, a man knows between 6 to 8 months if he wants to marry you. He knows between 6 to 8 months for if he wants to marry you.
Yeah.
We had somebody on the last stream, and I asked, why did you give your guy these children before you married him? And she says, well, I was raised to be a mother, not a wife. And that's very profound. I didn't think, I've never thought about that. I actually never heard anybody say that before, but it was something worth, you know, giving some thought to,
Yes,
And
being, huh?
when I got married, I had the wedding, but was never taught how to have the marriage.
So that's
Yes.
It was, I had the big wedding, all the people, the flowers and the gifts and this and that, but never had a clear and concise. And it was a shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
And the shotgun was pointed at me.
Mm.
You marry this woman, well, him too, because we were in the church. He was a minister. I was a young mother. They told him, either you marry her or you leave the church.
Oh.
My mother was telling me, marry him, marry him, marry him. He'll be a good dad.
So
Okay.
when you say shotgun wedding, can you explain to me what you mean when you say that?
When you say shotgun, they put stipulations. You have to do this, otherwise that.
Almost like you was forced to do something that you
right,
really to.
Right.
Well, back in the day, if a guy knocked up a girl, that's what they did. The reason why they call it a shotgun wedding is because literally the woman's father would go to the man with a shotgun and say, "You either marry him,
better marry my daughter, or I'm gonna kill you."
We can't on YouTube. We can't use the word kill. It's got to be delete.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Unalive.
Yeah, alive.
Unalive. Yes.
Miss Diamond, real quick. Am I wrong for asking if I got to come in and be a stepdad? Am I wrong for asking, what do I get?
I think that if you're in a relationship, I think that there's a conversation that should be held between the two parties. And it could lead to what both parties may want to know what they're going to get out of it.
Right, exactly.
So I don't think anybody's going to meet today and expect tomorrow to say, what am I going to get out of it for being with you because you have children? Yes. I think that that's a journey that both of the parties are taking. And that's a question that should be addressed by both parties. But Miss Young had said something that brought me back to something that my mother had said when she mentioned that fork. I almost fell out of my chair. My mother always told me that if a man finds a woman that had children, he's going to stick with her because he knows that she's going to make sure they got food on the table and a roof over their head. So now he has a place.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of times it has nothing to do with how he really feels about her. It's because he needs that place.
Exactly.
And then he's going someplace else to have that place. So he's secured in more than one place.
And most of them come like that.
Here's the thing. Well, here's the thing.
Ready-made families.
The men who come, the men who show up that way, why do you give them a seat at the table?
Because everybody need a chance, and there's too many of them.
Oh no, they don't.
No, they don't.
Oh no, they don't.
But there's so many of them show up.
They don't need a chance. And I say that because
they don't be cooking.
Hold on a second. Miss Diamond, then Flo, then Mr. Morris.
Okay. Again, everything that we're talking about, it's individualized. We all have our opinions about what we may believe that the reason is for someone to do certain things, but we're not in that home. We're not in that situation. I could be a twin, and I could be in that situation. I could fall this way, but my twin could fall another way. It's different for everyone. Some, it could be because they want a partner. They want that lifelong thing. Another one, it could be because they want to prove a point. One, because they want security. It could be for so many different reasons of why they accept that behavior from anybody. So I can't sit and say that this woman here is wrong for allowing that man to live in her home. Look at the movie, the picture Claudine of what happened to her when she was going to let somebody come stay with her, how the system got involved. And they were saying, yes, if she had him there, she couldn't get these benefits.
Yes.
So this is a system that's involved as well. And to this day, that still kind of happens now, where you can't do certain things because the system is involved. Families have fallen apart.
I'm well aware that it's 2021, or I'm sorry, 2022. And I'm well aware that ladies have financing, they own homes. 9% of Black women actually earn over $75,000 a year. So I'm well aware of that. But there's a big part of me that if you're out there vetting a guy, and tell me if you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but if you're out there vetting a fella, shouldn't one of the criteria be, especially if he's going to be a stepdaddy, shouldn't the main criteria be, can he absorb us? Why does he have to? Because historically, you went from your daddy's house to your husband's house. And why isn't, to a degree, that mindset today? Meaning, if you're vetting a man to marry and whatever, if you're vetting him, why can't you have the same standard? Well, I'm over here, but you have to have the ability to put me in your home, which breeds stability, which gives a signal of stability.
TJ.
Miss Angela? Miss Angela? Miss Angela, can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. So what do you think about the vetting process?
What was your question?
What do you think about the vetting process? Like screening out the guy, you know what I mean? Screening out the guys that come into the table with basically his fork in his hand and want who needs a roof and needs a plate. Why accept that?
You have to have your standards, and you have to have what you want to accept and what you don't want to accept. I mean, you can, if you are ready to take on the role and allow someone to come in, or if you need somebody to be able to move you in, what are you willing to accept? That's what the criteria has got to be. What would you accept? What will you allow?
But what we hear is we hear a lot about the guys who need sponsorship. That's what I'm calling it. That our women accept a lot of men who need sponsorship. Why are you accepting men that need sponsorship when the data shows 54% of Black men are childless and have enough money, earn enough money that they're in the middle class? So again, you don't have to accept a dude that comes with sponsorship. Now the dude that the guy in the 54%, he might not be as swagged out as the dude who needs sponsorship, but what is the outcome?
I'm just gonna say, for example, it's what you want to accept and what you do accept. Because my nephew is he has his own. If he don't have to go stay with nobody, he don't have to go shack with no girl, he don't have to go lay up with no girl. He has his own house, he has his own car, he has all of that. It's about what you will accept. Will you accept somebody that has this? Is that what you want, or do you want somebody that has they own car, they own house, they own everything?
But too many of our ladies are accepting. You know, they're not accepting the 54% because they're single and childless and earn. Mr. Morris and then Christy.
Because, like, you might not think, but that other 54%, the guy that she got at the table, he might got a good game. He might talk a good game.
Exactly.
You know man, I had plenty of times where I could be at the table, sitting there, chilling. It's all about the game we kick to him.
Exactly.
You can easily manipulate a woman to thinking that you that guy.
That's what it
and
is.
She ready to move you in, and she don't even know you. You can move in that next week, and she only know you for 2 weeks.
Yes, some men got game like that.
And,
they know how to move.
And if you got that game, she ready to raise the kids and be the damn
to you.
Yes.
And what you got to know your value.
I didn't experience.
Miss Thomas, what did you say? Miss Angela,
again, like I say, and I'm not moving from this. It goes back to you. It goes back to what you will accept. It goes back to your value. If you're willing to accept all this air blowing, making you feel good stuff, then that's what you're willing to accept. I'm not. I'm not accepting that. You can tell me that all day long. I'm walking away. I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I don't want to
But
hear.
that's but back to the topic. Absolutely. Go ahead, Miss Christie.
So what happens is a lot of times with women, and I can say this from personal experience, we get beat down by life. You know, making poor choices, having things occur to us, things in our own personal life, and then, you know, poor judgment.
Yes.
And we begin to accept, because instead of looking up here, the bar has dropped. So you're looking down here and you see Ray J. And he look good and he talks good. He speaks well. And he says all the things that that young woman needs to hear. And before too long, she's made a very big mistake by allowing him in her life and in her home. And it happens, I see it happening far too many times. We get, as women, are become vulnerable and get hurt and accept less than what we should. And I mean, at this point, at my, you know, for the last 10 years, I won't even date a man with a child in school. I've raised my children. My children are grown. I want someone that's there for me.
Yeah. Well, Miss Diamond?
Yeah, I just want us to take a look at the totem pole, because that's where they place the Black woman, on the bottom of the totem pole. But if you realize that we may be on the bottom, but we're holding everybody up.
Yeah.
We're holding everybody
The weight is
up,
on our
holding
shoulders.
everything down. We were some of the strongest women there is, and you can't beat that. And that's why they deliver, when they talk about the stepdads and all the things that they may think is negative, they're directing it to the Black woman. Because if you mention stepdad and you're talking about a white woman, you're not looking at it as a stepdad. You're talking about a partner, a family man.
Yeah.
So they always try to put something negative to us, but I always go right back to that totem pole whenever I feel as though somebody's trying to beat me down or try to say something negative about the Black woman. Yeah, you may put me on that bottom of the totem pole, but I'm holding it up and I'm holding everybody down, my children, my man, and anybody else. So I don't look at it in a negative type of way.
Yes.
I just say, again,
the reason why
this come on board, he's going to be trained the right way. Because if he didn't get it at home, he's going to get it here. But I don't have time to do that.
And men got to realize when you meet somebody, it's all about tolerance. Just as well as you got to tolerate us with our luggage. Believe you me, you got luggage and baggage that we going to have to tolerate. You know, it ain't squeaky clean coming from y'all end. So, you know, we all just got to know what we're willing to tolerate. And
I'm a big fan on Ajax. Obviously, the reason why I think this topic has, if you go all over, like I call it Black YouTube, you know, who are having these conversations, a lot of the conversations are more so directed at screaming at women for the outcome, the 73% outcome and the 80%, they're screaming at the women. My goal is not necessarily to keep screaming at the women, but take the outcome and figure out what can we do next. There's a growing group of men, I don't know, I'm kind of plugged into this a little bit, that believe, Black men that believe that we should walk away from our because it's most of them feel it's a bad deal. My personal stance is this: 33% of Black men are getting married. That's actually more than Black women, but that's not a hell of a lot, you know? So we are constantly at an increasing rate being attacked, being murdered, being whatever, at an alarming rate. So I feel my stance is that our men, if we want Black women, we're going to have to accept being a stepfather and come to terms with that. I've told many ladies that I know who got sons that are 22, 23, 24 years old. When these most men don't start coming into their manhood, believe it or not, ladies, most men don't start coming into their manhood until they're rounding 40. That's their wisdom, their strength, their financial, their perspective, their outlook, their backbone. It's normally not solidified until around 40. But I tell a lot of ladies, you got sons in the 20s, in the mid-20s and stuff like that, and they're thinking about, they're at the beginning stages of thinking about what life is going to look like when they start hitting their 30s. They're not going to have any, if they want a black woman, they're not going to have a black woman to go start their own with. They're going to have to. And so I'm asking our ladies is, make it a good deal for them. Yes, it is and I asked this question the last time is, do our ladies actually understand what you're asking us to do? If you look at it from that perspective, if you can get yourself a productive black man who's willing to come in and cover you, your children, and all that comes with that, are you not obligated or feel obligated to make it a good deal?
We as women gonna treat you according to how you treat us. If you come correct, you gonna get correct. If you come incorrect, that's what you gonna get out of it. We are nurturers. We are bred to do what we do naturally. So when men always come incorrect and want the best out of the deal.
Here's the thing. If you got a guy coming incorrect, then he's not that guy, because if you're selecting based on character, you ain't got to worry about that.
Mr. Morris said, most of them come and they know exactly how to come. All of them don't. We all not the same. A lot of them come, they know what to say. They got game. They grew up with around women. They've been watching. They know. They not coming. You think if they come in incorrect, we done to dunce, we gonna just fall for it? No, they come in a certain type of way. Trust that.
Somebody's falling for it because they keep doing it. It might not be you.
Yeah, it might not be me, but yeah. So we have a dummy born every day. It's a dummy born every day.
We have to have these conversations amongst ourselves, amongst our younger women, to raise awareness, to raise the bar, to say, hey, because if we as women say, you can't come at me with that, then the men are going to take a step back. They'll fall back and say, whoa, because we want to follow.
73%.
We need someone to follow.
Yes.
73. I'm going to keep going back. 73%.
Right. We want to follow. We want someone that will lead us, that will cover us. But if you just fall for everything, anything.
73%. Listen, 80% of our children are born out of wedlock. Only 16 to 18% of black men are making babies. The vast majority of our black men are not making babies. They're not. So the question comes. Do we become more vigilant? Let me ask a question that hopefully that nobody's going to get discussed with me about, but I'm going to ask it anyway. They wave a magic wand. They get rid of Section 8, food stamps, Medicaid, and child support for unmarried women. Who do you pick now?
We get up and do what we got to do.
No.
You go to the other race.
Then they start going to get these.
Then they start picking the race. That's what they start.
Then they start going to get the nerds.
And they start running.
What you say, Christy?
Then they go get the nerds.
Producers, who they should be getting to begin with.
No, they don't. They go to the race.
But again, the system, we're living in a country that never wanted us here. They've done everything in their powers to keep us behind, keep us down, keep us back. They've created all these. The system isn't broken. They made it that way. They built a system to keep your Black self down.
Yes, when they take men out the home, it puts us in a different mind frame.
We're going to get
There's
to
a
that
lot of
subject
things.
down the line, Flo.
You
Taking
know,
the
because
men out the home.
all slavery did was
Huh.
teach us how to be free, but not to live. That's
Slavery
all
is
slavery
ridiculous.
did. When they
All
freed
right,
us, they didn't teach us how to live.
guys, this is, I guess we can probably go on for like another 45 minutes
Man,
on this, or an hour on this subject. I want to thank everybody for coming. Listen, these conversations, at some point, I listened to Sirius XM radio every morning. No, not every morning, but I used to watch it every morning. This guy named Joe Madison. He always, every time there's an issue come up, he's talking to a caller, he always asked him, so what are you going to do about it? You got an issue.
Gotta do something about it.
So what are we going to do about it? From her image, from her perspective, if you're looking at 73% of our Black women are single, 80% of their children are born out of wedlock, and only 16 or 18% of the Black men are making all the babies. So the image, the perception of the Black woman is y'all sharing a bunch of men, you're picking the lowest common denominator of men, and you're doing it freely when you have capable, suitable men over there that you don't do. So my question is, what are we going to do about it? I mean, that's a rhetorical question, not to be answered, but something to think about. And we got some, I know Miss Black, Dr. Thomas, Miss Lucas, Miss Angela, Mr. Morris. They're out here doing stuff. We all don't know. We don't really know each other that well. And Miss Angela's the queen of collaboration, and she gonna help us through that. But this is just one step in the process of examining her image. Okay, we got a long way to go. But this one is a big one, and this one is I chose this topic to start off the series of her image with, because it's such a gaping response. It's such a gaping issue in our community. The fact that we got, and here's the other thing that we don't want to talk about, because you got 73% of the Black women single. Who's raising all of these boys? And we're complaining about
73%.
We are.
And why didn't we do the best new thing? Have 2 wives. That's the new thing.
Mr. Morris.
What's
But
the
we're
new
going to
thing?
talk about that too. I mean, I'm not going to go.
I'm
I'm not going to go down that road right now. Let me tell you something. If you got multiple men, you already accepted.
Oh, he's talking about that poly stuff, that poly craziness.
Yeah, that poly crazy stuff. Yeah.
That's the new thing.
Poly crazy.
All right, you guys, hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and end this real quick. I'm going to say a few words, and then I'll get back We're back with you. Any final thoughts, Flo?
Man, TJ, them ladies on the panels are awesome. I enjoy listening to all of their views, because it makes me, see things in a different light. It gives me different outlook on how I see things, also. So it's a learning experience for me too. So I do appreciate all their views, really and truly. Mr. Moore, he hit the nail when he said what he said. As a man, he knows exactly how they come and why women, even I'm a very wise woman, but you don't never see me living with no man. I kick it. I'm a straight play girl. Ain't no you come on, that you know that. You know I ain't go. Come on, I ain't finna be popped off out here. I don't do that. I live and let live. We get too caught up in all about me. No, live and let live, because in this world, these are different times.
Yeah, we're living in different times, but I don't want I don't want the majority of us. I mean, we're already there, but to kind of roll back from the live and let live, because Flo, they're killing us.
They destroyed our image so
bad,
so bad that what
we
are doing, we only make an attempt to try to get this back on
they're
track.
killing us, and they're killing us because we are apart. I don't know if you noticed in that video how many of those people that were killed in New York were our women, our elderly women.
Elderlies. That's why I had to say they age, because they was all our, man, it hurts. TJ.
All right.
This was a very, very interesting show.
All right, everybody. Our next stream will be next week. I believe it's going to be next Thursday. Topic. We're still going to be dealing with her image. The topic is going to be friendly, beautiful, inspirational. And it's not going to be what you think.
You know we getting grown up in here, right? 25 and up. Let me see your ID, baby. Yeah. Nobody move till we say so. It's that 3D radio with TJ Digger and Lady Flow. Real talk on 3D radio. Dressed for success, so it's never fail. Grow delivery, so call it Gmail. Stay logged on till it's time to bail. Adults only, so now it's set sail. Don't act like you ain't heard what I said. Go on, little mama, put the kids to bed. Live on the net, you know it don't stop. Time to get loose like you do the wild. Need some advice, you know who we be. Relationship University. So like Marvin on the Mercy Knees. And on the intro, you know it's Big D's. We came here to blow your mind. Caught up like the folks that's on the crime time. Clap your hands cause it feels so amazing. This another TJM creation. Nobody move till we say so. It's that 3D radio with TJ Digger and Lady Flow. Real talk on 3D radio. Nobody move till we say so. It's that 3D radio with TJ Digger and Lady Flow. Real talk on 3D radio.